when it comes to anything that could be even marginally akin to God men or any kind of institutionalized spirituality. I'm very much against that.
First experience was, why am I doing this class? Why am I sitting here?
I didn't think that God can be manifested in a human form.
There was a certain atmosphere in the class which kind of grows on you.
I would say this is a place where you can live truly.
The thing is, unfeelingly it works.
It calls you.
I want to tell them this one thing, the only reason why people do not know what it means to be spiritual by themselves is because they're dead serious about their lives. That's the main problem.
Western Ghats are among the oldest mountains on the planet. Apart from that, these mountains are of tremendous significance to us because this is a mountain that so many siddhas and sages and yogis chose to live in for a long time, and they still do. And above all for us, this is a mountain that my guru chose to walk upon and also chose to leave his body in this mountain, so it's like a temple to us.
I'm a skeptic, brought up upon European philosophy, reading Dostoevsky, Camus, Kafka and this kind of intellectual stuff. And being 60s, very much influenced by the Beatles and the rest of the thing. That is my spirituality.
Yeah, this is today. Yesterday night.
Today is Azad Guru?
Yesterday night.
Yesterday?
Night.
Oh.
So, spirituality and me are simply impossible to meet, even when I'm just 5 years of age. If my family sometimes go to the temple, I have questions. If they cannot answer the questions, I won't enter the temple. They never got to answer my questions and I never entered these temples. So this is the kind of person I am. So there's no question of spirituality in my life. But this just exploded upon me.
Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.
Sadhguru, tell us a little more about the Shambhavi Mahamudra.
You know what the word Sham means? Sham means evening or twilight. So Shambhavi means one who wears twilight as a raiment. Twilight means you're in the day but beginning to taste the night. You're in the night, beginning to taste the day. You're in the twilight zone where you are well established in your body, but a dimension beyond the body is available to you. See, if you want to really go beyond, that's very easy, you know, we can shoot you in the head, you'll go. You don't want to go beyond the physical, you want to be rooted in the physical, but you want to taste the beyond. Yes? And certain mudras have been referred to as twilight. This is not a technique. It is a live process. This needs to be understood. Now, the whole existence is just a vibration. This is a scientific fact. Where there is a vibration, there is bound to be a sound. Is that so? What the science is calling a vibration, they're calling it a vibration because they did not feel it. They only mathematically deduced it. Those who felt this, felt it as a sound. If you have to utter a sound without the use of your tongue, suppose you did not have a tongue, what would be the sounds that you could utter? What are the sounds you can utter without using your tongue? Cannot imagine yourself without a tongue. You're pressing the tongue, isn't it? So if you experiment properly, you will see these are the only three sounds that you can utter without the use of the tongue. A, U and Ma. So these three sounds are known as the universal sounds, or the basic sounds in the existence.
When I was just 11 years of age, 11 or 12 years of age, in the backyard there is a well, a drinking water well, which is about 8 feet in diameter and goes 150 feet. Summertime is when we go, so normally water is about 60–70 feet below the ground level. So one of the sport for the boys is to jump into this well and climb up. We are doing this on a certain day, and a man who is over 70 years of age comes, looks at us, and he goes and just jumps into the well. I thought, this is it, the old man is finished. But he came up faster than me, and I didn't like it. So I kept my pride aside and asked him, okay, how? He said, you come and do yoga. So I followed him. Within a short time, this yoga became so much a part of me. Throughout the next 12–13 years, without a single day's break, this simple yoga that was taught to me by him happened, and which led to a much deeper experience later. Till it led me to that experience, I had no idea that I was doing a spiritual process. So, after I finished my university and I was into business and I was doing very well for myself, at such a time, on a particular day, I went up a small hill which was near the place where I grew up. In the middle of the afternoon, around 3 o'clock, I went and sat there on a rock, and my eyes were still open. I didn't even close my eyes. Till that moment, I always thought this is me, as everybody thinks. But suddenly I did not know which is me and which was not me. What was me was all over the place. The more I talk about it, the more insane it will sound to people, because it is totally illogical. Because always this is me, and now what was me was everywhere. What is me has exploded all over the place. I thought this experience lasted for 5–10 minutes, but when I came back to my normal senses, about 4.5 hours had passed. The only thing that my mind could tell me was, maybe I'm losing my balance. This started happening to me, and once I just sat down, and in my experience it felt like 15–20 minutes, but actually I sat down for 13 full days. I neither ate, nor slept, nor used the toilet for these 13 days. I simply sat down. Actually, in my experience, I thought it was only 15 minutes or 20 minutes. So time and me somehow were not meeting. If I sit here, time was just disappearing in my experience. And I don't expect anybody to believe this, but this is a living reality for me today.
Every human being has a natural desire to learn. It's really a school's job not to get in the way of that. So here, it's find out what sets the child on fire, nurture that, blow on the flame, and let it ignite. So I'm more excited about what we do not do here than what we do here. So they're multi-age classrooms. We submerge them for 3 years in a content. And at the end of the 3 years, the older ones have helped the younger ones catch it, and the younger ones have stepped up and are probably more accomplished than they would be if they were in a classroom by themselves and self-contained.
Right now, always people are glorifying childhood. Everybody says, like a child. Why? Because simply a child can laugh for nothing. A child can jump around for nothing. Without any reason, he can be happy. That is a reason why they're glorifying. Without any reason, if you can be ecstatic, that is the way adulthood should be. And when I saw this is the way it can be and it's possible for everybody, naturally I wanted to share it with people. So this whole effort of Isha Yoga is just that, my effort to somehow rub this experience off on other people.
The love you feel here is incredible, and a sense of how small you are in this whole system. Because when you're out there, you think your life is like, you know, this biggest project in the cosmos. That's the sense that you have. And you come here and you see so many lives, you know, feeding into your own and making it beautiful.
Some major significant experience that transcends everything, that didn't happen to me this weekend. But would I come back? I don't know yet. Possibly, because I think he's very practical. And spending an evening with him could probably, you know, fix your head if you're just waving away from the practical more than anything.
If you could create a world full of people who are in perfect harmony with themselves, outside what they do wouldn't matter to me. If they're in harmony with themselves, I trust the life in them, that it will do the right things. Creating these harmonious beings is my work.
70% of the population of India is in the rural side only, but they are not getting the medical facility. So this mobile hospital is serving to the rural people. So I decided to be in the rural mobile hospital, and I want to be with Isha. So I am in this. These people, this woman and old people, if they want to see the doctor, means they have to travel 5-6 kilometers from the village, and the bus facility is also very much reduced in the villages, in the rural villages. Only 3-4 timings only the bus is coming, so they have to wait for the bus and they have to pay, and the one-day income also cut. So our mobile hospital is coming and serving in the villages. They are easily coming and getting the medicines.
But actually, as time passes, when they get into the yoga practices, they were like seeing the yoga teachers as the saviors for them, because they don't need to take any medicine. Just by doing the practices, all their diseases are vanished. And also it keeps them rejuvenating and keeps them more alive.
If you cultivate a garden well and maintain it, flowers will naturally bloom, you can't help it. It's bound to happen. So if you ask me what's my dream, I would say if you walk down a street, if I can meet, like you meet vegetable vendors in India anywhere and everywhere, I would like to see enlightened beings on the street on a daily basis. That you don't have to go searching for them some in Himalayan cave or foothills of some mountain, you can see them everywhere. If we create a large mass of harmonious human beings, naturally, hundreds and thousands of enlightened beings would pop up out of that. You can see them everywhere. When that happens, it will be in perfect harmony, because when a human being is harmonious, there will be no compulsive actions in him.
I used to smoke about 90 cigarettes a day, right? That came down to, at one point, 2, right? And apart from that, everyone said that I seemed to be a lot younger, was one of the key things that they kept saying.
Roll camera. And action.
At the moment, I'm preparing for a feature. Everything that can go wrong is going wrong. Along with it, I have just finished my board exams, which is my son's board exams. I think this is where Isha helps me a lot. It's managed to… I don't think my productivity is going down, it's going up. Because I'm doing 3 things, 4 things, and if someone told me 5 years ago that I would be able to deal with it like this, I don't think so. I wouldn't be able to catch sleep, I wouldn't be able to sleep. I sleep well. Actually, let me tell you something more about Sadhguru that I like. I just like his… he just sat there and said, okay, so I'm now, we've decided to get into the construction business, and everyone's telling me, why are you getting into the… How can you're a spiritual man, how can you get into the construction business? And then he went on to say that, listen, I have medical facilities for so many villages, I need money. And he says, so I've decided to get in the construction business. And the person then said that, but isn't that what you're not? So he says, it's not that Swamis, yogis and sadhus are not good businessmen. It's just that in the past they looked after the material, the spiritual needs of the material society, and the society looked after their material needs. Kind of looked at, so each kind of, he says, now it seems like, it's not going to be possible, so we're going to get into construction. He says, I suspect we might make better businessmen anyway. I love that.
See, architecture is just a play of geometry. Right now, all the buildings here, it is not standing because of the strength of its material. It is standing only because of the perfectness of the geometry. The concrete buildings that you see, we have also built some. They are held together by the tension of the steel and concrete. Here it's all brick and lime and mud, so buildings are relaxed. They're meditating, you can say. The building itself is meditating because there's no tension in the building. See, the uniqueness of the dome is, there is no cement in it, no steel, no concrete. It's only brick and lime and mud. One way of looking at it is, all the bricks are trying to fall down at the same time, so they can never fall down. It's like all 5 of you try to get into this door, nobody will get in unless one of you have little courtesy and you step back, then they'll all get in. If all of you keep pushing, you will never get in. But the bricks have no courtesy. I have trust in that. Nobody has enough courtesy for any of them to step back. They'll all keep pushing. As long as they're pushing, they are in place. And they'll be pushing as long as the planet is on. So this building is made in such a way, I'm thinking a minimum of 5,000 years, it will last.
most dense substance on the planet is mercury. And it's liquid, and modern science does not believe that it can be solidified at all unless it is at -32°C. But if you go to the Tirthakund today, you will see a solid piece of mercury. It is 99.2% pure. So this is the Indian alchemy, which is known as Rasa Vaidya, through which we solidify mercury. It is a subjective process. You cannot explain this with objective physics or chemistry. Does it poison people? No, because there is no mercury in the water.
This energized water, it's readily available here for a person. Make some contact with this water, naturally they get energized. So with this energy, if they go to Dhyanalinga, their receptivity towards receiving Dhyanalinga's energy will be enhanced.
The word linga literally means the form. Why we are calling it the form is, when unmanifest energy begins to manifest itself, the first form that it takes is that of an ellipsoid. We know this from our experience. If you raise your energies to a certain pitch or beyond a certain pitch where it moves towards a point of dissolution, then the final form that this one takes is also that of an ellipsoid. So the first form is ellipsoid and the final form is ellipsoid. So linga is seen as a doorway to the beyond. We're using this particular shape to house different types of energies which will reverberate for a long time.
To me, it is one of the most powerful places I've ever visited in my life. This form transforms beyond space and time. So it was such a unique experience to me, and even now it doesn't matter whether I sit in the US or sit anywhere else. If I have that kind of intensity, I could always experience it. But still, I would love to sit in the temple because this place and the ashram has such kind of energy and intensity about the whole thing. It's so subtle, you may miss it, but it shakes you completely from inside, which you may not even know for a few years.
Adam and Eve were there, let's say they were there, and they didn't know what to do. This is a dumb couple. Now the snake came, somehow worked on the Eve and tempted the Eve to eat the fruit of knowledge. And from there, the whole life process began on this planet. So one who initiates a life process, one who is instrumental in initiating the life process on this planet, would you call that one as the agent of the devil or the divine? If you're against life, you would call it an agent of the devil. If you're for life, you would call it an agent of divine, isn't it? I think it's only the priests and the pundits of the planet who label the snake as the agent of devil. Somebody could not accept the simple biological process of your body, so they went about describing one who initiated this process as an agent of the devil. So even there, it doesn't make sense. Jesus said the kingdom of God is within you. Yes? If it's within you, what world thinks about you, what thing you think about yourself doesn't mean a damn thing, isn't it? How you are is all there is. Whether it's accessible to you or not simply depends on how open you are, how unprejudiced you are, how pleasant you have become within yourself. That's all. If the kingdom of God is within you and you missed it, that's a tragedy, isn't it so? So the whole effort of everything that we do here is just to avoid the tragedy.
Had 2 nervous breakdowns in New York City. My health totally deteriorated. I was, working with numbers for the last 3 years, and so I kind of was just always in my mind constantly. So for me, when he addressed me directly and said, look, you're so much in your mind, you have to just let it go. And you have to be, because otherwise you can never be fully happy. You will be always entangled in one thing or the other. Maybe it's your sadness, or maybe it's your negativity, or maybe it's something else. But you will always find something that will hold you back.
He may be out of place here.
This time it really sank in. Maybe because I was in his presence, and I could also feel the energy and, hear the words from his own lips as from a live master, so to speak.
I was an actress. I used to work as an actress, so I started working with my body, with my feelings, with my inner core, no? It's like all these things that we read in the book and that we've heard about with Sadhguru and with this course, you find it in real. All the religions that we misunderstand, they're all the same, they're all connected in the same way.
This is the only culture which doesn't have a religion as such. Religions have cropped up now because of external influences. Otherwise, as a culture, there is no religion in this place. We have something called a Sanatana Dharma, that means a universal religion. When we say universal religion, we are not talking about one religion for everybody. We are talking about all of us can have our own religion. Anybody who's born in the land of Indus or the civilization that came from the banks of Indus is a Hindu. It's a geographical identity. So, you can worship a man and be a Hindu. You can worship a woman and be a Hindu. You can worship a cow and be a Hindu. You can worship a snake and be a Hindu. And you can worship nothing and still be a Hindu. In the evolutionary process of the body, monkey is very close to you. In the evolutionary process of the soul, a cow and a snake are very close to you. It is because of this they told you that you should not kill a cow or a snake. In the yogic culture, snake is seen or represents the unmanifest energy within you. This is known as the Kundalini. The nature of the Kundalini is such, till it begins to move, you never realize that it's there. That's the reason why it is compared to a snake. So, Kundalini is symbolized as a coiled-up snake. The whole system of yoga is just to bring that dimension of energy into your experience. In how many ways a human being can explore the ultimate nature? The nature that is beyond the physical nature has been explored so extensively in this culture. A lot of it is unfortunately being lost, we are unable to really preserve that. But still it is a live culture, it is still alive in a certain strand, which is thousands of years old, that strand has been kept alive. Whether it's vibrating and resonating in the common people's lives or not is a questionable thing. But as a thread, it has survived and still existing and continue to exist.
I was a chemical engineer. I studied in IIT Madras. Okay, I went into research and development in chemical engineering. Out of curiosity, I came in, but then once I went there, it was just too much sense to ignore. I did my program in 2000. Okay, when I came here, it was 2003. That is when I moved into the ashram. 3 years, it took time for me to, not that I consciously thought I have to go there and stay or anything like that. But I knew this was on the cards somewhere in the back of my mind. But I never talked about it even to my wife at that time. It just happened, and by around 2003, she was more into volunteering than I was into. And I thought this way of life made much more sense.
You play only the interlude.
See, one more thing is you have to understand that Isha is just another society. Okay, we have people from all over the world here, much more international than if I had stayed in some other colony or some other place outside.
See, if a spiritual process has to take shape in any culture, it is only after the material needs are taken care of in a human being that people will seek something beyond. Today, because of technological advances, we have enough resource on this planet for all of us to live well. The leadership on the planet, political, economic, military or whatever kind, people who impact millions of people's lives. First and foremost thing is all of them should become meditative. If these people who are in positions of power and responsibility, if they experience this world as a more inclusive part of themselves, I'm sure there will be a solution for every problem that we face.
God loves me. As I told him, the way you are, only God can love you.
From my childhood, I've been made critically aware that the situation's happening with nature. And the things that has to be done in the next 5 to 10 years, if we don't do it right now, the consequences that we have to face is, it's going to be really bad. So I thought that the situation right here, it needs certain kind of help, and I'm right here. And money, I can do it anytime. When Sadhguru started this project, he designed the project in such a way that it is globally adaptable. By 2010, the project will plant around 11.4 crore trees, 114 million trees by 2010. And the immediate benefit is that we'll be creating a 10% more green cover in Tamil Nadu.
So, yoga is not a particular philosophy or an ideology or a belief system. It is something that every human being must know. When we utter the word yoga, people may be thinking of impossible physical postures. No, that is only the physicality of yoga. That is one of the things that one may do to condition and prepare his body for higher possibilities. The word yoga literally means union. Union between what and what? What needs to be united here? According to modern science, we know today that the whole existence is happening and reverberating as one energy. So it's already in union, nothing is in any kind of discord. So the discord is only in human perception, that in human perception, you and me have become separate. So if you raise your perception to your point where you see the world as it is, you see the existence the way it is, as one, then you are in yoga.
masculine is on, it is a conquest. Only when the feminine is on, there is a civilization. So, in celebration of the feminine, I want you to understand, this is in celebration of the feminine, not the female. Being female is a very bodily thing. Being feminine is not of the body, it's much more than that. One who sees life as an achievement, one who sees life as a conquest, he or she will not know the feminine. The masculine part of the mind is intellect. Intellect is like a scalpel. It's a knife with which you can cut everything and look. By cutting you open, we can find your liver, kidney, heart, whatever, but the most essential ingredient will be gone, life, isn't it? So this is the nature of logic. Logic is capable of grasping the mechanics of life, but never the life. That is the curse of being masculine. Everything he knows. When I say he, don't think of that man, poor man. He may not be so masculine. But intellect cannot look at anything without dissecting, because that's the nature of the intellect, it splits everything up. So what we are looking at as feminine is generally, when it comes to the mind, is referred as the intuitive. Suppose I ask you, 2010, 1st September, what day is it? What will you do now? I want a quick answer. Calculate. Have you noticed this with autistic children have this kind of intuitive capabilities? He has very serious comprehension problems and his learning ability is very low, and he has serious behavioral problems too. But you ask him about these days and dates, he won't even give you a second's break. He'll just tell you, if you want to use all the computers in the world and calculate, he'll never be wrong. This is also a calculation, but not going through the necessary steps. So many yogis, like Bhrigu, chose the feminine way because they did not want to go through all the steps. They want to just jump. This jumping is feminine quality. So we want to look at feminine in its utmost purity, bring that out and experience that. For this you need not actually be a woman. It is not a compulsive must that one must be a woman to know the feminine in its highest possibility. A man can also know it. But 3 days wouldn't be enough, we would need a much longer program. That's why we asked only women to be here. We will do something very simple. I want you to begin to feel your way through this, because that's the nature of the feminine. Not thinking your way through something, feeling your way through something. What we will do is, you take a partner, take somebody that you met only today. Sit facing each other. Just the contact that you have with your partner's hand, just be with that, the left ring finger. Keep your eyes closed and just be with that sensation and that contact. Riga pari sani pari, riga pari sani pasa, riga pari sani pari, riga pari sani pasa.
I did not call myself a guru. The first program that I decided to teach, I chose yoga because I was practicing yoga since a very young age. I saw it as a medium to somehow convey what was happening within me. So when I decided to do this, nobody wanted to touch me with a barge pole. It took a lot of convincing and coaxing and coercing to get 7 people into my program. In my whole life, I had never taught anything to anybody, nor could anybody teach anything to me. Here I am making an attempt to teach something and nobody wants to come, and then the 7 people came. I'm very grateful to these 7 people because only then I realized I could teach. People may be looking at a guru as somebody who just blesses them and tells them to smile, tells them to live well. These advices your parents have given, your grandparents have given, gurus also do the same thing, anyway it doesn't work for you, isn't it? Isn't it so? So, a guru is not somebody who's got a bunch of advice for you. Guru is somebody who's got a method for you, who's got a way with which if you work you can transform yourself. So when I'm offering these methods, as a method, not as a belief system, not as a philosophy, it takes a keen mind and an unprejudiced mind. Even if it's not unprejudiced, we will beat it out of all prejudice. That is the whole program. The program is structured in such a way, it gets you out of all prejudices so that you become receptive to the possibility. The word Isha literally means that which is right now the basis of all the manifestation that you see as creation. Isha means a formless divinity. If you give it a form in this culture, we would call it Ishvara. Ishvar literally means God. So, when it is a formless divinity, we call it Isha. So, that which is the source of creation is constantly functioning within you. So, Isha Yoga is a method to experience that. The knowledge itself is eternal, it's always been there. We can't teach something else because you can't change the truth. But how you help the people, how accessible you make it for the people is what your packaging is all about. Millions of people have gone through these programs now. This process will function effectively for a minimum of 700 to 800 years. The integrity of the teaching itself will last that long.
Nityaya Shuddhaya Digambaraya Tasmai Nakaraya Namah Shivaya.
I'm sure this system will produce many wonderful beings on the way. Maybe somebody far more capable than me will arise, definitely. I believe that it will happen because I have the trust in the soil that I have created. I am already totally stoned, so there's no room for any more drug. People who are dry, who doesn't know how to get intoxicated, they're putting some drugs into them. I'm all the time intoxicated. This is what I want to teach you too. That is, you can be completely intoxicated without any drug, just on life. This is a shift from wine to divine. Oh, I will definitely tell you when I'm leaving, but don't be in such a hurry. I know it may be a great filming opportunity for you, but still people want me around, so when I decide, I'll let you know. I have not made up my mind. Approximately I have, but not absolutely. When I make up my mind, I won't disappoint you. I leave on that day. I won't stay for an extra day.